To you and to many of you, you know my dad's name through music, but to me he was just my dad. And when I had the opportunity to speak at his funeral, one of the things I talked about was that he always helped me find my beat in the world. And one of the ways he found that early is that I had trouble skipping in the first grade. And when I was in the first grade, or kindergarten going into the first grade, you couldn't move from kindergarten to the first grade unless you could skip. And so he took me out into the driveway and he began to teach me how to skip by doing step, hop, step, hop. And then he played music for me, and the faster the music got, the faster I would step, hop, step, hop. And that's how he taught me how to skip. And he always kind of found innovative ways to help me find my beat in the world. And that is my hope for the way that we can change lives, is that for some of us who are not what the world would call book smart, or who aren't sure of ways to express our souls, or who we are, that music can be that way. It can be that way that we can find our own beat and our own place, and as Henry David Thoreau said, we can march to our own drummer, however measured or far away. You know, I met Keith Emerson as a little girl. I was at several concerts with my dad and backstage with him and sat next to Keith Emerson.
What's he like?
Well, I was 8, so he was cool because he had a motorcycle. He was cool because he played the ribbon controller and jumped off the stage and wore tight black leather pants. But the thing that I remember most is that I really liked Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and I was 10 or 11 at that point, and have not always been a rock and roll person, which is kind of funny of a father who was so rock and roll. He, at least 2 concerts that we were at, he would always pick my dad out of the crowd, whether there was 10,000 people there or 30,000 people there. I remember one at Rich Stadium, and the spotlight was on him, and he said, "This next song is dedicated to a man who's meant this for us," and they sang Lucky Man, Carl Palmer and Greg Lake and Keith Emerson. But if you are Emerson, Lake and Palmer fan, you know that on one of their albums you hear, "Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Emerson, Lake and Palmer." And those are when my dad was really sick and kind of in and out of things. At one point he wasn't speaking at all, he was just kind of humming. And I said to him, he turned to me because I was touching his arm, and I said, "Shh," like I was comforting him. And he said, "Don't shush me, Laura." And I said to him, "Welcome back, my friend." And he said, "To the show that never ends. Ladies and gentlemen, it's," and he said Emerson, Lake, and I said Palmer, and then he was gone again. So, yeah, they were, you know, those people were part of our lives, like, you know, like for you, you know, your next door neighbor was part of it. And we, you know, well, the funny thing was going to a concert in high school and taking a friend of mine, and we were going in early to see Rick Wakeman and Roger Powell, and they said, "Look, it's Rick Wakeman's father." And we all, my dad said, "Yeah, yeah, you know, that's who we are," because, you know, he was glad that he wasn't being recognized. So, yeah. If I was a student who wanted to get involved in this industry, I would listen to your own heart, your own voice, and believe that you have something to contribute. You know, a lot of people in the world thought my dad should be doing different things than he was. He, you know, has a doctorate in physics from Cornell, but he knew what his voice was. And even when times were hard and he felt like monetarily it wasn't going to work, or people told him it was a little crazy, he stuck to his dream and of what was important to him. And the other piece is to always remember your own spirit and to not get caught up in the, a lot of kids today want to be big, wealthy, and rich, except wealth and richness comes in doing what you're supposed to do, not always in new cars.
Do you feel the spirit of your dad here tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, I always feel the spirit of my dad. I was his oldest child. His firstborn named after his favorite song. So.